there's something that actually guarantees that you win in everything you do. And when I tell you this, you'll not only be able to never rely on anyone else, but you'll also have unlimited motivation. Does it sound too good to be true? Well, I'm going to tell you to do something, and when you do it, you'll see the results, and then you can determine whether it's too good to be true. This again is probably one of my most important videos, because what I'm telling you today is what drives me every day in order to be able to not rely on anyone else and to also have that unlimited motivation that we all crave, right? So what is this thing? This thing, simply put, is creating your enemy. So who is this enemy, right? This enemy is the best version of yourself. Now, I don't take credit for this, and credit to whoever came up for this idea, because it works like a charm. You need to create your enemy, and the enemy needs to be the best version of yourself. Can you imagine for just a minute, right, if you did everything that you were supposed to do over the last 5 years? Can you imagine? My name's Gideon, so I'm going to use myself as an example. So I would ask myself, which is what I would like for you to do. I would ask myself, Gideon, if I did everything that I was supposed to do, right, when I was meant to do it, I knew I was meant to do it, but I didn't do it. If I did everything over the last 5 years, who would I be? And I'll tell you what, I can hardly recognize that person from who I am today. Just because there's so many missed opportunities and times that I was just straight up lazy, if I'm being honest, or I just found an excuse not to do it. Now, imagine that same person is beside you, right? And that person is in your position. Cool. So you know that if in the past 5 years, that version of you did everything that he was supposed to do or she was supposed to do, you two wouldn't be in the same position that you're in right now. That's for sure. We know that for sure. Now imagine that person is in your position right now, right beside you. This enemy needs to be a real life person. It needs to be as real as your hand. So you need to really imagine this person, see the person as right next to you in the exact same position as you. How would they move? How would they deal with this situation you're in right now? And I'll tell you one thing, they certainly wouldn't be relaxing. I can guarantee you that. I don't know nothing about who's on the other side of the camera, but I know that they wouldn't be relaxing. They'll be thinking, okay, what do I do next? How do I solve this? Whatever issue, they'll be taking it, grabbing it by the horns, because that's the best version of you. That's the person that every obstacle they face, they even love it. You know, that's part of it. I'm going to make things much easier and put things into perspective. That's going to make it very simple for you to reach up to this best version and even defeat this best version of yourself that you can imagine. I want you to remove leisure and happiness from the equation. This whole happiness idea is something that's kind of been sold to us, right? And it's almost like an exchange for our dreams and what we actually want, right? Because happiness is a byproduct of what you actually go for and what you actually achieve. Do you know what I mean? Happiness isn't something that should be sought after. It's something that's given after you get the thing that you actually want, right? For example, think about any time that you were happy. It was almost after you had to do something, right? Using myself as an example, I can think back to the time where I was really happy, right? And that was when I did my first commercial. I'm an actor. So when I did my first commercial and I got that role, I was extremely grateful and I was just happy. Like, I was joyous because I put in all that work and I'm finally seeing something from it. But here's the thing though, I was striving to achieve, right? And along that journey of me striving to achieve was me getting that first role, which then led to the happiness. I didn't strive for the happiness. So bear that in mind, because happiness is not something that you should be striving for. It's a byproduct of you achieving greatness, achieving what you're meant to do, achieving your goals, right? Now back to this enemy. This enemy is someone that you have to beat or strive to beat every day. So this is what I do. I imagine me and my enemy. my best version of myself. We start here at the start of the day on the same level playing field, right? We wake up in the same bed, right? And whatever time we've set to wake up, we wake up at the same time. And then throughout the day, my enemy's obviously doing what the best version of me that I can imagine would do. So, you know, it's like this, and then that kind of forces me to catch up or even be ahead. If I imagine the best version of myself is here, this is what I imagine the best version of me could do, then I could even outperform it and surprise myself, right? But you kind of want to constantly be, do you know what I mean, getting up with that, reaching to that best version, because you got to beat that enemy. That enemy was made to be beaten, right? And the reason that I say that is because you actually shouldn't be able to fully fathom the best version of yourself. If you really were to be the best version of yourself, you wouldn't even be able to imagine it, because that is something godly. You know, that's something that's almost beyond what you can imagine right now, right? So this best version that you can imagine right now can actually be beaten, great, believe it or not. So on a day-to-day, you set your tasks, you know what you're meant to do, you set it, or you have an obstacle you're meant to overcome. Instead of looking at the obstacle and being upset, right, I want you to give this enemy a name. I gave my enemy a name, and anytime I'm slacking or I get distracted of something, I just say his name and I'm like, boom, okay, we're back in it. You know, it's a race, it's head to head, we're going tit for tat, and this enemy is as real as it gets. And I'll tell you why the enemy is real. On a day-to-day, every day, I'm not sure if it feels the same with a girl, but I'm a guy, so I can tell you how it feels. As a guy, on a day-to-day basis, right, when we are not anywhere near our potential, or when we're not keeping up with that best version, what we know we could do, there's something inside of us that we feel, where we feel like, I can't even describe it, but every guy knows what I'm talking about, right? Where you know you're not doing enough, where you know you're not at your potential, right? And that's that enemy that I'm talking about, that's constantly poking you. He's in your face. Like, the way God has made it so that this enemy, no matter how good he gets, he will always be beside you, right? Your enemy might be in whatever dream car you can imagine, and you're in your current car, and God has made it that you can almost always see this version, no matter how far ahead he or she goes. I don't know why. It's to constantly remind us that, look, this is what we're actually up against. Now, the benefits of doing this is it eliminates everyone else. That's the key thing. You don't want to even competing with other people. That's a distraction, right? You know that if you were the best version of yourself, truly, right, there's no one else that could beat you. You know that. I don't need to tell you that. You've had glimpses of that because the enemy's telling you that, right? And the enemy is actually doing it. So in order to shut that voice up, in order to win, right, you have to beat that enemy. Simple as that. So to summarize, either you plan out the day before, or you wake up and you plan your day. But either way, you know the two of you start on a level playing field, right? And you constantly have to, you know what I mean, battle, tit for tat. You can win it. The enemy was made for you to beat him. That's your purpose. You don't need to worry about anything else. That's your purpose, right? And the greatest thing of all is when you're doing this day to day, this is when you get results and when happiness comes into the picture. So from now on, I don't want you imagining, oh, I want to be happy about this, oh, I want to be happy about that. No, that comes as a byproduct. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope that's helped you, and I want to see you smash it. Kill the enemy. That's what you need to do every single day. I don't care whether you're a guy or a girl. I know you can do it, and I know that you know what I'm saying is true because you hear that voice and you feel that feeling. So let's go smash it, guys. That's it for me today.